And what about Tuesdays? Tuesday's dart match?
Yes, well, Tuesday's darts, isn't it?
And midweek football?
Well, obviously we'll be going to that together. But she's got the rest, except Sunday lunchtime.
Having those two guys always want to sneak off to the pub and having her breaking up that, it was, you know, that was a great character. It's the ball-busting wife. It's the working-class ball-busting wife. People find that very funny.
This is your life. You remember this voice. Who put blancmange down my brassiere?
Beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing, Thelma, love. Just a party a long time ago. We were kids.
There was a few remarks that I remember thinking, male chauvinist pigs. You know, sort of...
Certainly our attitude to Thelma changed after Brigit. And you know, we used to think, she's not a bad person, Thelma. She was never intended. If she wasn't a good person at the beginning, it was because perhaps we couldn't write women very well.
There began to be headlines like the dreaded Thelma. And I thought, well, dreaded Thelma? I mean, I just didn't see her like that at all. So it was a bit of a shock to me, actually. Because I always thought she was really rather unfortunate.
I mean, I said to him, have I ever tried to stir things between you and Thelma? Well, you know the answer to that.
Yes.
It was Clive James who dubbed her the dreaded Thelma. And, yeah, we were trying not to make her a monster, you know, but I mean, inevitably, I don't know, poor Beth. I felt very sorry for her. I often felt sorry, and I loved Brigit's portrayal of her.
Thelma? Thelma?
I've always thought there was insanity in the Ferris family.
Thelma?
I've always put down your absent-mindedness to a sort of lovable eccentricity, Bob, but I realise now that you're right round the twist.
Thelma didn't represent a threat to freedom. Thelma just represented a threat to what had been their life. You're talking about nostalgia again. What had forged their relationship in terms of fun or comradeship was now threatened. And it was actually years threatened. Time changes, but Thelma was the most obvious symbol of that.
That was the market. That was Saturday morning pictures.
Well, at least Eric still survived.
Just.
What I do notice when I look at the reruns that are on now is a sense in the writing of a kind of longing for times past and things gone.
You know where we are now?
Well, vaguely. It's got this calm place.
Underneath this great pile of concrete is what used to be the Go-Go Rock Club, the North's premier music mecca.
The Go-Go? Gone?
Gone.
I've often been aware as years go on, and well, more now than ever before, that, of a sense of change and a sense of loss. And even when they were very young, we used to give them speeches about loss. Even when they were 22, they were being very nostalgic about being 15.
Lots of mates, Rupert. I remember them all.
I remember now. And there was an elephant, too.
Aye, that's right. Edward. Edward the elephant.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Edward Trunk, that was it.
No, it was Edward the elephant.
It was Edward Trunk.
Look, man, I know it was Edward the elephant. I used to have an annual every year till I was 12.
Well, I had him till I was 15.
You know, when you get a combination of wonderful writing and perfect casting, I think, you know, if you're lucky, these things fly. And the Likely Lads were so wonderfully cast. As all their TV successes here have been, you know, Ronnie Barker and the Porridge series.
Would you, Adam and Eve? Go to jail.
Porridge is for me just perfection.
I wouldn't demur, even if I knew how to pronounce it.
Tell them how the average day begins.
Starts off at 7 a.m. You'll be woken by a persistent and deafening bell. Then all the screws come round.
I beg your pardon?
All the prison officers come round, offering such advice as, wakey, wakey, get your socks on, move, you horrible creatures. We reply to this badinage with such remarks as, good gracious, is that the time? Good morning, sir. And who's been having your old lady while you've been on night duty?
I suppose Porridge was the best thing I ever did. It was so brilliantly written and so beautifully complete. There's nothing to be altered. It was all there. It was complete. It was a plot, a nice plot, not too much plot, plenty of time for character, and always had a very good end, a very good resolution, twist at the end.
It's only a little thing I ask. Just keep these nerks off my back, will you? Because if anyone else walks through that door, I don't think I shall be answerable to the consequences. Do you know what I mean, God?
Fletch!
Dickon had that ability to make even the most awful people, I mean, Harry Grout, welcome in your house the following week, and that's clever.
When I was in Parkhurst, I had a pigeon.
Oh, like the Birdman of Alcatraz.
Not really, no.
What did you do with it when you had to move, like?
I ate it.
With Porridge, Dick and Ian would rewrite and rewrite until the half hour was just about as tight as you could possibly make it.
What I mean is they have special apartments, you see, where the wife comes and stays the weekend, and then you spend the whole time manifesting your long-felt want.
I don't know of any prison.
Maybe not here, but certainly in Holland. And also I believe in America, where they have a more enlightened penal system anyway.
We were interested in moving to America. We mostly to get near the centre of the film industry. I mean, that's really why we wanted to come here. But the first trip, the agents immediately seized on the fact that we were successful writers in the field of situation comedy, and they introduced us to a guy called John Ridge.
They sent me Porridge, and I said, that can really be done here, and we made that into a series called On the Rocks.
What'd the warden do?
Nothing. I had mitigating circumstances, so he didn't give me isolation.
Don't you want to talk about these mitigating circumstances?
I'd rather not.
Hey, Nicky, there are no secrets in here. Does it have anything to do with your aunt's adenoids?
I must say, not as well acted as Ronnie, but okay. It worked out fine, and they were wonderful to work with. Terrific writers.
A good plot is still a good plot, and essentially, if you've got a good story, then that's the train that is motoring along the tracks.
It's a Dear John letter, is it?
Yeah, and in my case, it's Dear Lenny.
Naturally. Yours, but no longer forever, Denise, eh?
That's right.
So it's the demise of Denise, is it?
I've seen this happen many times, kid. It's only natural. You could say inevitable. At least your Marion was honest enough to let you know.
Because they're all at it like knives when we're in here, you know.
Well, it just came out of left field. There was no hint of it in her last letter.
My main concern then was whether we should have a budgerigar or a canary.
In your future life together, you mean?
Yeah.
The plots worked perfectly well. You had to change certain things and certain references, but if you stuck with that, they translated pretty well.
Look, son, I know it's only academic now, but speaking personally, from personal experience,
I would always choose the parakeet.
It seemed that possibly it really could work, and it would be very different. And so it was a very positive attitude we had when we went into it. We didn't feel that, oh, we're just going over there to kind of make a pallid version of a classic series. We thought it might open all sorts of possibilities. It wasn't, of course. It was a pallid version of the original series.
Here, they were terrified of it being too grainy, too gritty, and at one point we had a meeting where somebody suggested setting it in Hawaii, and Ian said, well, that'll be great, so occasionally we get a glimpse of a palm tree through a barred window, as if that is going to make a significant difference to whether it's palatable or not.
That's one decision you won't have to make now.
By the time we finished the series, I think I said to the producer, it makes you yearn for the gritty reality of Hogan's Heroes.
I didn't really ever enjoy writing for American television, I mean, to be honest. With the exception of the Tracey Ullman show now, which is for HBO, where we've got freedom and it's fun.
God damn it, Ian. It's not funny, Ian. You're blowing the show from the very beginning. It's not funny anymore.
I met them when they were writing Wiedersehen Pet because my husband produced that show.
No.
Come back, you make me look younger.
When they came to work with me on Tracey Takes On, I had to be quite strict with them because they're like a sort of married couple. They finish each other's sentences and they're terribly close, and they'd never worked in a room with a big group of writers.
That's been different, not because it's been doing something consistently in America, because we haven't done a gang situation before. And in fact, very rarely have we written sketches. But it came about because of our friendship with Tracey and because it's and our admiration for the Tracey Ullman show.
Oh, I love that show. You're very kind. Heading home, are we? Yes, I'm going back to LA for pilot season. With me, it's always pilot season. Oh.
They were very important in the first year of starting the show up, and they came up with wonderful storylines, especially for the English characters that I portray.
Culture, okay, culture.
We would like to do two in culture.
You want to do two?
Oh, yeah, and Hope and Dylan Thomas. Perfect.
They should do culture because they're the only ones at the table who have it.
Is this chicken? No, it's pheasant, Mom.
Really? So hard to tell under this dubious sauce.
Yes, it is rather revolting. Awfully sorry.
We covered different bases, you know, we had male, female, old, young, I mean, American English, I mean, we covered a lot of different bases, and I found it very stimulating, actually. It was like using a different set of muscles.
Darling, I'm beginning to like it here. When we saw Vicki Lawrence and Tab Hunter and Bells Are Ringing, I realized it's not the cultural desert that we feared, you know, but this is not about the Sunshine State, darling. Let me do for you. This is not about it. It's about these three men down here and what they're doing to my nerves.
Frank.
What?
I'm gonna go talk.
Oh.
Because you can do that here.
Yes.
You can talk to strangers.
Harry, be careful, there may be Cubans.
We don't want her to get laid.
Yeah, don't. All right, she's not going to lose her virginity.
When I moved to America in 1976, I obviously saw a lot of Dick and Ian, and we set up a company initially to make commercials, and then that developed into a company that made programming. We all settled in Los Angeles in sort of late 76, and we were offered various shows with the various networks here.
You know, a few years passed, then you've got American Wives, then you've got more friends here than you have there, and then work's being generated here, and you suddenly live in Los Angeles. But of course, during that period, we kept working in England, and then with the formation of WIEDERSEHEN, it was a very, very strong link, which took us to our WIEDERSEHEN pit.
Working on the site from morning till night, that's living all right.
I was going to do this program called WIEDERSEHEN Pet for the BBC as a single play. I was in Los Angeles a few years later, having done nothing with WIEDERSEHN Pet. And I had lunch with Clement La Frenais and told him about the idea for WIEDERSEHN Pet and the characters and so forth. And he said, he was so excited at lunchtime. He said, I want to go away and write it now. I feel so good about this program. I want to go away and write it now.
Dearest Brenda, we are now at sea. I stood on deck and watched the coast of England disappear into the distant mist. Who knows what lies ahead? A better future for us. That is my fervent hope.
Geordie Mafia got word that they'd written a new comedy series, and we were all desperate to be in it.
The problem's going to be the dogs, though. And, well, we're going to put the sand, because...
Shut up, boss! And we're going to need false papers and civic clothes.
Shut up, man, will you?
Well, it's like that, isn't it? You know what I mean? Rouse, schnell.
I went down to London to a place called Cecil Sharp House near Regent's Park. And I went in to read, and there were producer-director type people around, and I was reading, and I'd taken quite a while to look at the script, never having seen one before.
You know the reason I left this country in the first place, didn't you? Huh? I'll tell you, in a word. Margaret bloody Thatcher, that's why.
And I looked across the room at Jimmy and I said, oh, please just let him be able to act a little bit, because he looked exactly the Oz that I'd seen in my mind's eye.
Because I had it, I was up to there with what she created. Bloody wasteland.